Hello, guys. Hello, guys, and welcome to Sunday, isn't it? So, today's stream, I wanted to go through a couple of things. Let me fix the lighting here because the lighting is absolutely dreadful. Hold on 1 second. Oh, the lighting is just really bad in this room. So I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to this video. So the convoy, as we know it, has been dismantled completely now, and Ottawa has been locked down. So we're going to go through that. We're going to go through the state propaganda. And let's define propaganda because people throw terms around a lot at the moment, and some I throw around as a joke. But propaganda is true. You know, the definition of propaganda is reporting on a story with a political bias, which is exactly what CBC, CTV, all these different things do. We're also going to go through CPP holdings so you can see the Canada pension plan, which we all are forced to pay into here, how that's making out, and and we'll take a look at their holdings because those are companies obviously the government has a conflict of interest with. So we'll go over that and even some more dictatorship type things that are happening with this emergency act. We'll go through that. Before I get started, some huge announcements, and I know there's not many of you on right now, but I'll say them right now, and I'll probably repeat throughout as we get more people join. The Economic Ninja is coming on this channel. That's a huge deal. He is a YouTube sensation that rose. I was following his channel years back, and I loved the way he came across, his charisma, just fantastic. And he was kind of an inspiration for starting this channel for me. Last year, I was kind of thinking, and I saw him doing videos, and I thought, this guy, he's doing videos. He's fantastic. And I kind of thought, you know what? I want to be like him. That's what I want to do my videos in, that kind of style. And that's how the channel kind of started, I guess. Now, it wasn't about the same topics as him at all, but he was definitely an inspiration to start this channel. So it's huge that he's coming on, and he knows that I've been following the channel for so long because the Economic Ninja has got like 168,000 subscribers. He's not going to go on every show that asks him to go on there. He's going to be pretty selective because the amount of people that are probably asking him to go on their YouTube channels and whatever, but he knows that I've been a fan from the beginning. So I think that's fantastic that he's coming on. We're also having Hilliard Macbeth on this channel, which is going to be fantastic. In fact, I've got his book right here. So this is Hilliard's book, When the Bubble Burst, Surviving the Canadian Real Estate Crash. I read this over the holidays at Christmas time. I thought the book was phenomenal, and he goes over so much data in this book, and we're going to be having him on the show. So that's going to be absolutely fantastic. Found you on the Rebel Capitalist show. I love the content. Thank you so much. George is definitely a big inspiration for these type of videos because obviously he does them all the time on the Rebel Capitalist show. And as we grow the channel, we're going to have different types of videos. We're going to be doing the live streams and everything like that. But the live streams, once we get to a point where at least you can go halves with me on the software, in a sense that the advertising revenue at least pays half towards this streaming software, then I'll foot the rest of the bill. Then, because this streaming software is not cheap, guys, it's not cheap at all. It's like $600 US a year. So that's a big bill, and I don't want to foot that. So yeah, Revert to Means in the house. Yeah, Revert to Means, I got to give you a call. He's going to be coming on as well, and we'll have a great discussion. I think that'll be fantastic. And you know what? The thing is, there's so many great people to talk to, and I want this channel to be, not just me. I want to be able to bring you the greatest minds to show you the greatest people that I think, anyway, personally. So if we could get George Gammon on the show as well, I think that would be absolutely fantastic. So I'll see. I met up with him over the Christmas holidays, so that would be fantastic. But check out this book if you haven't already, because when Hilliard comes on the show, then you may have a question that you can ask him directly about the book. And I've got to go through it again and create all the questions that I want to ask him about the book. Now, he wrote this in 2017, so it's not recent, but the same stuff applies. So this book is really, really good and underrated. Like nobody would know. So anyway, without further ado, let's dig into the state propaganda. And I mean, as sad as it is, we're going to go through this story, and let me bring it up here. Here we go. Okay, let me get the streaming software over here. All right. Bring it up here. Here we go. Well, hold on. What have I done? Okay, sorry. I had that open twice. All right. So, police working to ensure nobody returns to occupy our streets again. Guys, when you see this, it's going to blow your mind what they're doing. Oh, I forgot to mention, guys, for everybody who's on the live stream on Friday, I took it down because I thought, you know what, this is going to be quite controversial. So what I've done is I've actually uploaded it to Rumble now. So what I'm going to do is I don't think it's live yet, but I'm going to post in the chat the link to that. This was from Friday. So I think it's still processing right now. But that video we did on Friday, I think that's really, people need to see that, but it's very controversial for YouTube. So I took it down and I put it on Rumble. And to be honest, I would love to be able to stream side by side on Rumble and YouTube. But again, like I need that streaming software, but we'll get there, guys. We'll get there. So anyway, let's get back to the article. So this is the state propaganda media. So CBC, which is owned by the government, police working to ensure nobody returns to occupy our streets again, says interim police chief. The snowy streets of downtown near Parliament Hill will likely remain off limits to vehicles for the near future, as Ottawa police say they're working hard. They're working to ensure no further protesters return. Isn't that funny, guys? Because the very thing that they said the protesters were doing is now the very thing that they're doing themselves. Like the irony. Oh my God. The fact is, they are now blocking off the downtown. This is an occupation when the police are ring fencing a certain area of the city. Now that's an occupation, but anybody could have come down to the Freedom Convoy. You know, I've listened to Viva Frey, check him out because he does short videos of the counter protesters and the protesters. I'm all for, you've got to see both sides of the story so that you can get a good opinion on what's going on, because you can't just look at one side. And it's clear to me, once you see the counter protesters, that a lot of them are just extremely misled by the propaganda that's out there. So police officers in the city of Ottawa, cleanup crews are the few people who remain in front of Parliament Hill on Wellington Street, where thousands of demonstrators rallying against restrictions occupied the streets for more than 3 weeks, terrorizing some residents. Again, that is just complete load of garbage. And a lot of the things that they said they've done, nobody can even justify or link them to the convoy. These might have been things that were taking place in the city before. The fact is, the convoy was feeding the homeless. Like, I've seen all the things that were going on down there. And the government thought, let's break this up. Let's not negotiate. And I think the real thing is, no matter which side of the argument you're on, you have to think, okay, so even if you're against the convoy and everything, why the lack of dialogue? Why declare a national emergency for just a thing that was going on in Ottawa? And that's the real question. And I don't think a lot of people, and you're going to see some things in this article which are damn right disturbing in a so-called democracy. Okay. So we are deeply committed to the community healing that we know now needs to take place, Interim Ottawa Police Chief Steve Bell said at a news conference Sunday afternoon. And I know, guys, this is incredibly frustrating for you to watch as well. It's incredibly frustrating for me to read this utter garbage, which we're paying for with our tax dollars. We are paying and subsidizing a news media organization to put out propaganda. This is Canada in 2022. And at least together, reading through it, we can be frustrated all as one and voice our frustrations in the chat, guys. Anything you want to say, stick it in the chat. Over the next several days, Bell said police will figure out how to maintain a presence in the downtown core to make sure that nobody returns to occupy our streets today. Jacob Wright says, I was at the protest for 9 days, took a break for a couple of days and went back Monday last week. Friday and Saturday were pretty wild. Yeah, I saw some of the live streams that were happening yesterday. And it looked like a massive party. Again, anybody who's been to these things, being called a racist, being told you're part of the fringe. I mean, it doesn't matter. Obviously, racism is completely bad, but branding people as racist, like racism is in itself, that word is kind of like a blanket term that's thrown around a lot to brand people. And it is not racism at all. It has nothing to do with race. So it's unbelievable that the Prime Minister came out and said, oh yeah, that everyone's a bunch of racists. And we even had people yelling at us when we were doing the Freedom March in Calgary saying bunch of racists. And I was just like, we're all about unity. This is about solidarity, like the opposite of what racism is. Racism is about division and, anything dividing us, the politicians love it. But anyway, let's carry on. By Sunday morning, officers had fenced off the area immediately surrounding the parliamentary precinct where protesters had been entrenched since late January until a series of police advances throughout the day Saturday pushed the crowd west then south away from Parliament Hill. And those were violent on the police's part. And it's like the RCMP's gone back 100 years. You can see them beating people. A Rebel News reporter got beaten. And let's face it, Rebel News is not a friend of the state propaganda organizations or anything like that. So it's just absolutely insane. I mean, there were so many cameras there that I think it really undermines Canadians' intelligence to suggest that these videos and pictures were doctored. And to anybody who was on the live stream on Friday, you saw that video and it's on Rumble now. Well, it's nearly on Rumble. It's still processing. But if you haven't seen the live stream from Friday, go check it out on Rumble, because if you look at that, you will see that video and there's about 5 different angles of what happens with the horses. And the state media says that they were doctored pictures and don't believe it. And you know what? The thing is, guys, it's getting to the point now where it's so obvious that they're not reporting the truth, that a lot of people are waking up and they're saying, hang on a second. But with that being said, you also have to remember, like, even if loads of people are waking up to the fact, there are still a lot of people that believe this garbage, absolute garbage. They don't understand how CBC is funded. They think it's unbiased because it's the state that funds it. And that was the idea of all these media organizations like the BBC and the CBC. They were brought about to be this unbiased thing because they don't have the interests. Well, what's happened is they've turned to having political interests. The politicians thought one day, hold on a second, we pay for this state media organization. Why don't we start using it to our advantage? And that's exactly what's happened. And the way the CBCs will, and I'm not saying I support the Conservatives, by the way, but the Conservatives, they want to defund the CBC. So how do you think the CBC is going to report on them? Is it going to be fair? Is it going to have a political bias? And then if it does have a political bias, it's the definition of propaganda. That's exactly what propaganda means. They weren't police. I agree. If you didn't see the TikTok that I did on Friday or any of the TikToks that I've done, and I'm using TikTok to post way more videos than YouTube because I know a lot of people just think I'm well, not a lot of people. Some people on the channel thought I was posting the videos, the shorts for views, but I'm not, because I'm posting them on TikTok now. So, and I've posted like, I think so many, like 10 and we'll go through some of them because I'm trying to make them funny. I'm trying to bring a laugh to this situation because at the end of the day, it's such a bad situation for Canada's history. We have to have a laugh at some point. I mean, God. Okay. So they fenced off the area. So who is really, I mean, does this look, you could freely walk in there and join the protest. Any of the residents could freely walk around there. You could get food for free even. And now what does it look like? It doesn't look like the residents are going to be able to get in there now. It looks like they've put up the Berlin Wall around there. So anyway, we're just, and again, like, look at this. Now we're just ensuring the residential areas in and around where this occurred continue to be free of sympathizers to this illegal occupation coming back to the area. You know, again, us and them. That's how they're reporting this story. It's like it's us and them. And I just want one unified Canada. But I have a feeling that we've turned the darkest page now in history in terms of politics in this country. And I think it's dangerous, the path that we've gone down. And I think really now for a lot of Canadians, me included, we have no trust anymore of what is actually going on. Like, there's just no trust. I have no faith. I don't believe anything now that the government says. I don't believe the numbers on immigration. I don't believe anything they report. And the funny thing is, guys, just real quick, I saw another CBC story that came across that, again, was a propaganda story. And basically what it said was, oh, because now we don't require the PCR test and it's a rapid test, everyone's rushing to book holidays. Okay. So we were looking at flights to Cancun, Cabo, Panama City. We've been looking at these things over the past month. So we've been trying to figure out and book something. So after I saw that, this was like 2 days ago on the CBC, I saw that reported. I was like, that is complete lies because, and it gets even funnier, guys. Some of the flight prices to like Mexico and stuff, they went down. So the fact that, and I went on the seat maps and there's nobody booked on these planes. Like, so they're just saying, again, they just love to pull on those FOMO strings that people are they've got so much entrenched FOMO now in their head. They're like, oh my god, all the holidays are booking up, so we better book up now. That's what CBC's telling us, when it's complete BS as usual. And again, it's like they're promoting what the government's done. And they also have commercial interests, obviously, as well. But the main fact is they're promoting, like, oh, this is so great what the government's done, that everybody's rushed out and booked their flights. What a bunch of just garbage. Again, like, we can't believe anything now this government says. And that's where it's got to, guys. So return to normalcy. Yeah, it looks like return to normalcy, doesn't it, guys? With those massive fences up in front of that area. Real normal. God, I think, and there's a reason why I named this video, Is This Just the Start? Because the thing is, I think a lot of what we're seeing right now is due to inflation, and inflation usually creates social unrest when people can't pay their bills or they can't put food on the table. That becomes a problem. It creates social unrest. It leads to higher crime, more protests, more striking as well. We're likely to see more strikes and everything like that. And it's happened before, and the government is just, again, down a slippery slope. Police have opened up Rideau Street at Sussex Drive, but it remains closed westbound. Whatever. Businesses that closed in the area should now feel safe to reopen. Again, the lines like this just assume that they are guilty before they've even been trialed. And it's just like, now feel safe, as if they weren't safe before. I mean, they could have had a lot of business. It was just really the federal government. It was the federal government that told them to shut down, and it's turned into an absolute disaster. And I think there's something like a huge class action lawsuit as well now, which is going on, which is just insane. Guys, I'm just looking at the camera, and I think the battery is gonna die. So hold on. Okay. Okay. All right. I should be back now. Sorry about that. The camera. I was looking at the camera and I was like, oh God, it's saying that it's got 1 bar, even though it's plugged in. It's plugged in charging, but still. Anyway, businesses that closed in the area should now feel safe to reopen. Guys, can you hear me? Just let me know in the chat. Also, the red zone was blocked by cops. They wouldn't let supplies into the businesses. The protesters had emergency lanes open on every street. It would have been easy to keep businesses open. Yeah, exactly. And they had thousands of people descending on that area that would have been looking for places to have lunch, places to spend their money. I mean, they would have been supporting those businesses because these were patriotic Canadians. But apparently, being patriotic about your country or being a patriot is racist. It's racist. And this is the day we live in now. And there were lots of native people there. There was lots of immigrants there. You know, there was people from all races, backgrounds, and whatever. And when you apply these blanket terms, I mean, those people must feel so just angry and frustrated. So it's almost 39 million people in Canada, and all I see are a few thousand protesters. It's obvious Canadians aren't supporting the Canadian MAGA. Yeah, I mean, there was about 30,000 people that were in Calgary. I mean, you've got to take that everybody isn't going to come out and support, even those that have supported from home. If you look at it from a monetary value, how fast they raised that money, there was a lot of support for that convoy. And even if they're a minority, it still doesn't mean they're any less entitled to have their views heard and voice their views. And they abided by all the rules that were in place. And that is why they couldn't get them out of there. And that is why they had to use the Emergency Act. But the Emergency Act was never for something like that. It's for something like a civil war. So it's good luck to all. Stay strong. Do not comply. Yeah, it's freezing bank account. People should be worried because you know what? It's funny. It's easy to sit there and say, well, I don't support this protest and whatever. But then if there ever becomes a time that you need to protest and the government doesn't like what you're protesting against, let's say it's hyperinflation because the government has completely lost control of their ability to control the monetary policy, which it looks like we may even get to a choice of that at some point in the near future. And everybody's protesting about that. And then they bring out police with the batons, tear gas, and you're there fighting for your family because you don't have any money and you're being pushed into poverty. How are you going to feel when the government bashes you with a baton because you're just trying to protest and there's thousands of you there standing up for the many the many silent people as well? So the thing is, it's not a case of whether you support it or don't support it. It's a case of, is what Trudeau has done right, and were they legally entitled to be there? And they couldn't remove them under the laws that they had. That is why they use this act, which was just undermines the whole democracy in Canada. So yeah, anyways, 15 bus routes. What else we got? There's even something. Here we go. So this is what I really want to go through because this is going to blow people's mind when you read something like this. By Sunday afternoon, police announced they had made 191 arrests and laid 389 charges against 103 people. So the thing is, obviously, if you look at what they're charging them with, we can go through that if you want to. Again, I can bring up that article. It's mischief. That's what they're bringing against these people. And anyway, mischief. Yeah, assault. Yeah, probably a handful of people, if that. And I wonder about the police that, just randomly charged on loads of people. Are they going to get done for assault? No. They're fine. It's fine. That's where we live right now. Police also towed 79 vehicles related to the protest. The vehicles include heavy trucks, pickup trucks, and cars. 12 Ontario plates and 24 out-of-province plates have also been seized, said Chris Hackins, Deputy Commissioner for the Ontario Provincial Police. And then 36 other commercial vehicles they've took action against. So this is MPs have been debating. So this is all interesting, guys. We say we live in a democracy, Well, riddle me this. So if you've basically got a government that comes out and basically says we're invoking this act, we're getting right to work away because it's a national emergency, even though it's been there 3 weeks, it hasn't done any damage, and they're using the excuse that they're there to overthrow the government, then they use all the powers that they have under the act before it's even gone through Parliament and the Senate. How is that democratic when it's a Liberal government, a minority government that invoked the act? So the majority of Canadians don't support the Liberal government. That's why they're a minority government. They invoked the act. They're using the powers of the act, but it hasn't gone through the democratic procedure of going through Parliament and the Senate. So the thing is, democracy, really? I mean, by the time it gets to being voted on, it will all be done. I mean, it's already done now. It's done. So they're going to vote on it, and it may not go through. I hope it doesn't, but we'll see what happens. The entire world has been watching. Truly amazing to see. Yeah, it is. It is amazing to see. So here we go. Let's go through this because I think this is important. So MPs have been debating in the House of Commons all weekend ahead of the vote on whether to ratify use of the Emergency Act scheduled for Monday evening. I mean, it's scheduled for after it's all ended. So if they vote on this, just remember that they voted on this. The NDP supported it because they're always going to support it because they hold the balance of power. And quite frankly, they don't want the Liberal government to be, they don't want to go to the polls right now. They know that they would probably lose to the Conservatives. So they're thinking, hang on a second, it's all about politics at the end of the day. It has nothing to do with the people. And that is the world we live in today. But anyway, I won't go too on my spiel. Part of the Act allows Canadian financial institutions to temporarily cease providing financial services if it suspects an account is being used to further the illegal blockades and occupations. That is so, what is the word I want to, it's not crude. It's so vague. That's the word I want to use. It's so vague what they're saying there that, I mean, that's anybody they decide essentially. So, he's trying to take out $10,000 cash. Is he funding the illegal blockades? Block his bank account. I've heard all kinds of stories of people's accounts being blocked, businesses' accounts being blocked. Again, the reason they have these powers, you may think, oh, these are over the top. But let's put this into context. If it was used in the correct way and there was a civil war, you can kind of see why these things are in place, why they have these powers. But when it's being used for something like a protest, and they're declaring it's national, when the one at the Ambassador Bridge, they all left after the injunction came in, all the other blockades ended and were gone, and then they invoked the act just for Ottawa. Remember that, because that's not national. That's not a national emergency. And the Civil Liberties Commission is suing the government for this. Great. So the RCMP says to date, 206 personal and corporate bank accounts have been frozen. Wow. What a great job. What a great job. That's citizens and businesses of Canada. But you support something we don't like, we freeze your bank account. That's the way we roll now. 2022 in Canada. I mean, I just can't believe, I just find it insane that people actually still support this guy, that they actually think, oh, he's not so bad. Like, what have you been drinking? Because this is just absolutely insane. And just remember, we have to remember and keep reminding ourselves, this hasn't gone through Parliament, hasn't gone through the democratic process in this country. This is a minority government that that most people didn't vote for, who is invoking a national emergency, and most provinces are rejecting it as well. It's just insane. We are hearing very clearly from law enforcement community that the tools, again, I spoke about this on Friday, tools, powers. Whenever you hear tools, think powers. Tools equal powers, because that is really the thing. They keep calling these things tools, but they're powers. They're trying to make it sound like they're not getting, and it drives me nuts, guys. It makes me want to tear out my hair every time I hear that Freeland go up there and go, we've now got these new tools to address what's going on. And you're just like, are you serious? Oh, God. Oh, God. I'm so sorry. Oh, God. Okay. But there are questions about whether the measures taken by police have been truly peaceful, with officers in riot gear using batons and anti-riot weapons to disperse the crowds, prompting Ontario police watchdog to get involved. Oh, wow. Another government watchdog is now going to investigate itself. I mean, for God's sake, reminds me of what's going on in England right now with the investigations over Partygate by the Met. I mean, the Met, like, it's just so. I mean, when you follow the money, like Freeland says, where do they get their money from? You know, that's what you really got to do. But on Saturday, officers, including members of Ontario Provincial Police, Quebec, Toronto Public Order Unit, Durham Region, began using pepper spray about noon in response to what Ottawa Police Service called assaultive behavior from protesters. By about 7:30 p.m., Ottawa Police said officers were using mid-range impact weapons in response to assaults from protesters. Guys, did they have any weapons? No, they had no weapons. So you're attacking people who have no means of defending themselves, and you're just saying they have assaultive behavior. I mean, yeah, and then they essentially, this video, let's mute it and just play it back real quick. You can see at some point, I mean, it's so. And guys, one thing I want to point out here is why is that camera shaking? Because if you shake a camera, I know because I've videoed things before. If you shake a camera, it makes things look rougher than it actually is, because it tricks your mind into be able to think. Well, if they just had a still, you'd be thinking, oh, that looks, you know, pretty peaceful. But again, it's these tactics, which is just Charles Ponzi. What a great username. Watch out for Freeland. She's getting ready to replace Justin Trudeau. Good Lord. If we have Freeland in next, good Lord. I mean, God help us. But anyway, I'm trying to find that part where they actually spray. I mean, they're videoing this from a distance. They have a tripod. Why are they shaking the camera like this? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense, and I still don't see where they're spraying them. But I know it happened. Oh, look at all this. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people stood over one person. 6 people stood over one person. Are you telling me that's not excessive force? You've got a guy who stood right here with a machine gun, looking like he's from the military. All these guys, call them riot police, call them whatever you want. They're essentially military. They're using military gear. They're dressed like the military. If they walk and talk like the military, it's the military. Whether you call them the police or the military, it's just insane. But again, there's 5 people on there. This video is so hard to watch because of all the shaking. It's hard to actually tell what's going on, and that's what they want, obviously. Wonder what the numbers is all about. Where I did see it. They did where did they spray them? And there was flashbangs also that went off. Different things. Anyways. Okay. On Sunday, the Special Investigations Unit said it was investigating 2 incidents that occurred on Friday and Saturday when officers were clearing the streets, wiping the floor. One involved a 49-year-old woman who reported a serious injury after an interaction with a Toronto police officer on horseback, and the other stems from officers discharging anti-riot weapon Enfields at police near Spark Street and Bank Street. Guys, do you know what those things are? Because I have no idea. Enfields. I don't know what the hell those people are. If you follow the money, it all leads to the IMF, and who owns that? Yeah, exactly true. And what does the IMF want if your country defaults and has to adopt the IMF's principles? Police said this is key. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this. So key. And I'm going to read this twice for impact. Police said vehicles will be impounded for 7 days, but Ottawa Mayor Jim Watson said Saturday he would like the impounded vehicles to be sold to help the city recover the costs of the occupation. Watson told CBC News that the city has the power to do so from the Emergencies Act, which was invoked by the federal government last week. Again, not ratified by Parliament, not ratified by the Senate, invoked by a minority government. Democratic? I don't think so. And what happens? I don't know. This is a question I'm just throwing out there. What happens if it gets voted down? Because you can't reverse all the different things that they've done. I mean, you can unfreeze bank accounts, but the fact that they were frozen, the people who were arrested, we don't know what sort of conditions they're being held in. It is insane that this is 2022 in Canada, a country that says it is one of the most tolerating. That's not the word I want to use, but it tolerates diversity like no other country. Yeah, right. Unless it's something that the government doesn't want, like unity. They don't want unity. They don't want unity because that concentrates the power. The thing is, they want division, because division, it's easier to manipulate different people. So, but again, police said vehicles will be impounded for 7 days, but Ottawa Mayor Jim Watson said Saturday he would like the impounded vehicles to be sold, people's property to be sold, to help the city recover the costs of the occupation. Watson told CBC News that the city has the power to do so from the Emergencies Act, which was invoked by the federal government last week. So, guys, the Emergency Act, again, not ratified by Parliament yet, or the Senate, and invoked by a minority government that the majority of Canadians did not vote in. So it's going to be really interesting. We're going to be watching this and continue watching this, because if the NDP supports they will need the NDP's support in order to ratify this through Parliament. If it gets through Parliament, remember the NDP voted for that. Please remember, because I think the NDP, as much as I hate the Liberals, the NDP I think are even worse. Even worse. And you can just look at the NDP in BC if you want any evidence of that. They're a bunch of lunatics. And it was like, again, I'll use this as an example, when somebody in BC slashed the tires of a family's car and they nearly had a crash as the result of that, because people were getting attacked because they were from Alberta, and Alberta was this dirty place that was full of people who were ill or sick, and they created this division. And the Premier of BC, John Horgan, I watched the news conference. He didn't even come out and condemn it. He didn't even say, this is just so wrong. It's completely unacceptable. He just kind of brushed it under the carpet because, again, they love the division. The division is what they want. That is the exact opposite of what I want. I want us all to be unified together. We all need to come together, and we all need to create a better system. Now, the fact is, what I want is a dream world, because it will never happen, guys. Never, ever happen. And if it does, well, I'll be damned and I'll be back. But, it's never going to happen. So anyways, but yeah, I was gobsmacked when I read that, guys, that because they have the power to do whatever they want, guys. They can do whatever they want. They can say, and they might even be doing this, who knows? They can say, you were involved with this protest, we're taking your house away. You will own nothing and be happy. This is the same, guys, it's what's next. Like, even if you don't follow this, or you don't like this, or you didn't agree with the Freedom Convoy, that's fine. You're entitled to that opinion. No question of a doubt. Everybody's entitled to have their own opinion about this. But this really now is coming down to what the government is doing and how they're using these powers, because they have just gone completely overboard. So it's just insane. Police action downtown convinced at least some protesters at the other major protest site, the semi-permanent camp at the Coventry Road parking lot, to pack up and leave. Tents and other structures at the site were dismantled over the course of several hours on Saturday afternoon, despite no visible police presence in the area. Approximately 24 vehicles remained in the parking lot on Sunday morning. By Sunday afternoon, police were delivering notices containing a list of potential offences that could lead to trespassing charges to those who remain. Officers started to move in just before 5 p.m. Top convoy organisers charged. On Sunday, police announced various charges against Tyson George Billings, 44, from High Prairie Alta. So again, guys, they are naming and shaming. They're giving you the location, the full name of the person. So if you want to go there and direct any hate against them, feel free. I think this is absolutely disgusting abuse of power and just totally wrong. And I think it is just an absolute sham. He's facing one count of mischief, counselling to commit mischief, counselling to disobey a court order, obstructing police, and counselling to obstruct police. 3 top convoy organisers are all facing similar charges, including Western separatist Tamara Litch, Saskatchewan trucker Chris Barber, and Alberta resident Pat King. Former RCMP officer Daniel Burford, who was also arrested late last week. Wow, that must be a real eye-opener for that guy, because he's been arrested by the people he used to basically serve for. And now he's probably thinking, what on earth has this become? The organizers of some of those named in a proposed class action lawsuit seeking 306 million that has been expanded to include wider geographic area as well as workers and businesses. Ottawa resident says locals were suffering under convoy occupation. Yeah, I mean, you have to make your mind up for yourself there. You have to go look at the live streams that various people have done. They've shown the good, the bad, the ugly. And really, I mean, no protest is ever convenient. It's never convenient. But if you look at what happened in other protests where they've got out of hand, I mean, this was nothing like that. Kids on bouncy castles and stuff like that. I mean, come on. It's just absolutely insane. So, and that's the person who launched this class action lawsuit. So the funny thing is, she's launched this, but I believe she works for the government. So, I mean, again, like, it's just like, it's all government. It's all government. It's like, okay, somebody from the government is now suing. Yeah, because that is definitely in the interest of the government. They're going to promote this person, put them up on a pedestal, and they will do the best to make sure that this is highly publicized so that people never step out of line again. You should never step out of line again, because if you do, you're going to go to jail. You're going to get tear gas sprayed on you. You're going to be sued by the government or people who work for the government. You know, it is just insane. They are calling out people who donated in Manitoba. Yeah, I believe it. Watch Paul Evra's latest speech. We need him to be the next PM when the dictator is finally ousted. I mean, the thing is, like, I don't know, because yeah, he's great now, but once he gets into that position of power, what's going to happen? And it's just, the system is so broken now. I'm not sure anybody can get in there and fix it, but at least we could get somebody in there who at least values the Canadian Constitution, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms that they get citizens to swear allegiance to when they become citizens. And yeah, I mean, it's just insane, the world we live in, guys, the world we live in. But I really want to highlight that bit, because the thing is, so they're selling people's vehicles who got impounded. But what about the ones who managed to get their vehicles out of the impound beforehand? They get away, but these people have to face the consequences. I mean, it's that fair thing. You know, I mean, how can you really sue for 306 million when it was tens of thousands of people, and you can't, it's hard to even put a number on it. And, you know, like, it just doesn't make any sense to me, any of this stuff. But nevertheless, like, what's going on right now with this Emergency Act is just bloody scary. The fact that the government is doing all this stuff and has done all this stuff, and it's gone, it's over before, you know, it's even ratified by Parliament and everything, I think just goes to show what's really going on here. There are no MPs into Poilievre did nothing for 2 years until he saw an opportunity. There are no MPs sitting fit to be a leader from any party. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I agree, because I think the system is so corrupt and broken. There's so many different interests now with the government, you know, as we're going to go through in a second here with the Canada pension plan. You know, the CPP that we all have to pay into in Canada, if they own massive stakes in these companies, do they have a financial interest? You know, the system is so freaking corrupt. It's so broken now that everybody is just looking out for their self-interest. And the thing, these politicians don't care about long term, and that's always been the problem. And it's the same with the banks. It's the same with the banking system, because they don't care about long term, and they only care about short term, making their bonuses as big as they possibly can, making sure their party has the best chance of getting re-elected next time, instead of making the best candidate that Canadians could have for the next 10 years. I mean, the devastation that's going to happen from the financial crisis and banking crisis that's going to come down the pipe is going to be horrific. And people are really going to start to question things. I think already a lot of people are questioning things, and a lot of people are moving on. They're getting out. They realize time to go. But let's move over to this now. So let's share this. All right. Okay, guys. So this is Canada Pension Plan, their portfolio holdings. Okay. So I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to bring it up. And I don't subscribe to this website, by the way. What the hell have I just done? I zoomed in on the wrong page. Okay, that's good. This one is where we want to go. Why is that not working? Come on. All right. You should be able to see that. Okay. Oh, wow. What the hell's happened? Okay. So how much funds? How is that, like 94 trillion? Is that 94 trillion? That's so many zeros. I don't even know. There's so many zeros on there that I think that's I don't know. That is a lot of money either way. Too many zeros on there for me. I wasn't the best. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So some of the companies that they have holdings in are all these. I mean, look at all these companies. What I'm trying to find made this so big now is because they had a huge position in Google, which is really funny. Well, it's not funny. Oh, come on. That's not what I wanted to get to. All these hundreds. Let me go back a bit. For some reason, there's extreme lag when I zoom out on this. Whoa, what's happened? Are you kidding me? Did I just see Diddy? Oh, God. They're investing in some absolute garbage. God, it's no wonder. Imagine if they're investing in like ETFs to reverse ETFs on bonds and stuff. That would be funny as hell. Right, let me search it instead. Here we go. So it was right there at the top. The board's top holdings are Google, guys. The government has a massive financial stake in Google. Nvidia Corporation, INFA, I don't know what that is. Sport Radar Holding, no idea. United Health, that's an American hospital or pharmaceutical company, if I'm right. I think they're hospitals, something like that. But again, they've got, I just found it so funny that Google was their biggest holding. And this is the government. This is the Canada Pension Plan. We all pay into this, guys. And Google is their top holding. Now, I'm not saying that Google is a bad holding to have in your portfolio. What I'm trying to say is, if they have a massive stake in Google, then how biased does that make them? Does that mean that they have some control over what goes on at Google? you know, you gotta say like these things, because with everything that goes on, especially on platforms like YouTube with censorship and everything like that, you've got to wonder sometimes, where is this coming from? Because Google never used to be what it is like now in terms of that. Oh, there was a couple of other companies that I wanted to look through. I'd laugh if they have a position in Tesla. They do. Good Lord. Oh my God. But I think they're average at a really low price. So that's not too bad. But still, some of these holdings, is there any holdings that you guys want me to look up? I'm trying to think of some stocks that have been absolutely, you know, Blackstone. Did I just see Blackstone on that? Blackstone. There you go. Blackstone, guys. The very people who are buying up a lot of duplexes and stuff like that in Ontario. Blackstone. So they have they so like it's oh yeah, let's look at of course that's not the ticker symbol. I'm looking for the Royal Bank, but I know the ticker symbol is R. Royal Bank of Canada. They're down. They're down in their position, but Royal Bank of Canada, they have a position in. CVS Health, look at this. Do they have any positions in, these companies? Holy! Are you guys seeing that? Are you guys seeing that? Right there. Oh, and look, they're in profit, guys. They're in profit. It's all okay. I didn't even know this before I got into this today, guys. So it really opened my eyes a lot. You have to remember, again, this is the government. Again, look at this, guys. Oh my God. This is absolutely insane. What about I can't remember the ticker symbol for BioNTech. Yeah, I can't remember the ticker symbol, but yeah, they have holdings, guys, in these companies. So you have to remember, like, this is essentially insider trading. A lot of the stuff they must do, because if you're the government, your Canada pension plan, and you're the government essentially, and you're buying into these type of stocks, and you know that you're going to be getting this type of stuff, it is just absolutely insane. Have they also got stakes in Uber? Yes, they do. You wonder why Uber got away with, all the taxi things that were going on in Toronto, Calgary? Toronto pays thousands, the taxi operators in Toronto. And look, they have positions in these companies. And some of these positions, guys, are at a big loss if you look at them. In fact, a lot of them are operating at a loss. And didn't we just have to increase our CPP premiums? It's just, did they use soldiers dressed as cops in Ottawa? Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, even if you dress a cop like a soldier, does it really matter? It's still the same thing, in my opinion. If you're giving them an AR-15 with a scope on it, you're giving them all the military equipment. Might as well be the military. If it walks and talks like the military, it's the military. I mean, if we go to my TikTok, right here, and I take you to this, and we'll watch this real quick. Hold on.
We're not using the Emergencies Act to call in the military.
I think there's some bad swearing at the end. Oh well, what does it really matter? Cover your ears. Oh no, it didn't.
We're not using the Emergencies Act to call in the military.
Watch this. Look at this guy. Pause, pause, pause. Look at these guys. Look at the machine gun. Look at the type of equipment. This is, it's the police, but it's the police dressed as the military. I mean, look at that. Look at that. That is a soldier. That's a soldier. Whether you call it the police or not, it's a soldier. Look at that weapon. It's also interesting that they've got suppressors on those weapons. I mean, God knows they might be. I'm hoping that they were loaded with rubber bullets, but I'm not too sure if they were or they weren't. Look at that weapon. Look at that. Isn't that a sight? Mandate freedom, a heart, and a soldier with a machine gun. Like that is like, he looks like he's dressed to go into a war. So, yeah, and look what I put there. I didn't even see that. What's the difference when they all wear the same and act the same? So it's very true. But yeah, it's absolutely insane. So let's go over to this because I really want to show you.
Mr. Schwab, for your warm welcome and for bringing this impressive group together.
What we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, that we penetrate the cabinets.
Well, now that is some fucked up shit.
And this is what I've been doing on TikTok. Is I've been creating all of these things, just calling them out on all of their BS, essentially. If you
accounts have been frozen, both personal and corporate, but you're not releasing the information.
I just want to show you that face again. Look at this face. Like, that is some fucked up shit right there. There's no way else to put in that. That is some fucked up shit right there. Oh my God. Look, she's like, I'm so proud of myself.
I'm just wondering whether the bank accounts will be targeted of individuals.
Oh, I'm so sorry now, though. Oh, I've got to show some empathy.
Are they considered designated people under the Emergencies Act, meaning that their credit cards could be cut and financial services are targeting them as well?
Across the entire economy, we have superstar bankers.
Yeah,
Confirming that
it is just insane, the guys, the things that they've said. And I don't know whether you've seen this.
Hello, Bob. I am 78 years of age. What happened is this truck sitting there with a freedom sign on it and two flags. I was backing them up all the way. These two police officers came back up at me, said, you're making unnecessary noise. He asked me for my wallet. I got my wallet. Wasn't arguing or anything with them. And then all of a sudden, all the yelling went on. I went to turn, and he grabbed me by the shoulders and then said, you are under arrest.
Look, they're hurting an old man, a Canadian citizen. Communism.
Took the handcuffs off me. My hand was full of blood. They had torn the skin off my hand. I'm afraid to go out of the house. I'm afraid they make me afraid. My name.
Yeah, I mean, this is the cops. This is what's happening right now. And it's just absolute. And did you see this, guys? We stand on guard for thee. God keep our land. Glorious we stand on guard. So that was the end of the protest in Coutts that happened last weekend and or early this week. And you can see that these people were singing the national anthem, hugging the police. You know, they were made out to be armed militants. You know, the thing that happened with, and I don't know the specifics of that situation, so I'm not going to get into it. But that's what the mainstream was making them out. This video was never published on the mainstream. So the thing is, we just see lie after lie after lie. And if you want to see a politician lie, then watch this.
CBC News has obtained photos of you in cottage country. We've spoken with people who took pictures with you who say you were snowmobiling on Saturday, Premier. Can you explain why you decided to go snowmobiling during a stated insurrection and siege in Ottawa?
Make no mistake, I have been engaged from the second this has happened.
Were you snowmobiling?
So I just want to point out his first response there was to lie. Second chance.
On Saturday in cottage country,
I went
while
to-
Ottawa was under siege, as you say.
Let me tell you, Colin, I was at the cottage. I went out on my snowmobile.
So, yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's just absolutely insane. These politicians, always their first response to lie. So what's going on in the chat? Delete WhatsApp messages of the RCMP officers. I haven't seen those. Where on earth can we see those? I haven't heard about that. Oh, the one they said was a satanic. Clog all the capital cities until the premiers listen and fight with us. Yeah, not violently though, I hope. But it's has Doug Ford been paid out? He made businesses. Canadian now must stay strong, speak up, stand up, and start exercising our God-given rights. No one took them. We just forgot how to use them. Canadian school propaganda was effective, wasn't it? You know, you make a good point there because, again, the government provides the education. So is that education going to be biased? That's the thing. Like, you have to think about these things now. And I never thought it would come to a point in time where we get to a point like this, where we have to question everything now about the government. But it really is like that. The thing is, this is just absolutely insane. And as we've seen with this, you know now that the government has a financial interest in said company that I'm going to bring up on there. Why isn't it coming up? Or is it already on there? Oh, wait, I was on the wrong screen. That's why. Pfizer is on there. This is Canada Pension Plans Holding. Moderna is on there. Don't know any of the other ones. I'm not sure if Nova. But yeah, Novavax is also on there. And, you know, you've got Bank of Nova Scotia, of course. You've got Bank of Montreal, of course. You've got, you know, all the, have you got Bell Media or whatever? Who knows? Because I'm not sure they're a public company, actually. But I think Rogers is. Yeah, Rogers. Look at that. So they own stakes in all these different companies, guys. So you have to take everything they say with a pinch of salt. But it's just absolutely insane. I believe Rebel News Twitter feed may have the messages. I saw them in Telegram. Okay, let me check out Rebel News Twitter feed and see what we can find. They did a good job of leaking Ford's conversation about the mandates, getting rid of them, because they leaked that like a week before it actually came out. Leaked RCMP messages. Here we go. Okay, so, all right. How do I switch to this? Okay, here we go. We'll go through this. I haven't seen this, so I don't know what's in here. let's have a look. How do I get rid of that message? There we go. So you can see. Okay, let's get rid of the cookies. Let's zoom in here a bit so you guys can see. Leaked RCMP messages, time for the protesters to hear our jackboots on the ground. RCMP currently in Ottawa to assist in the crackdown on peaceful protesters allegedly brag about using brutal force in a leak group chat. Okay, you won't see this on the mainstream, that's for sure. And I've seen this as well. It's just absolute disgrace. And why would they want to attack one of their reporters if they're reporting it in a way that's truthful? And a lot of people say, I'm not saying Rebel News is a media organization that I approve of or anything like that, but when it comes to stuff like this, they do seem to report it like better than most other news media organizations with less bias. Okay, in the chat, RCMP Musical Ride member Andrew Nixon sends a picture of a pint of beer, hoping for his chance to abuse protesters. Don't kick all of them out until next week. Group gets our turn. Robin Lafford remarks about accommodations police are being given in Ottawa. Nice downtown in Chateau Laurier. Nixon jokes about police brutality. Time for the protesters to hear our jackboots on the ground. After being admission, whatever. Nixon mocks the protesters. Okay, we can give out free hugs and unicorn stickers. A member named Marker laughs off the prior night trampling of two demonstrators, one of which had a mobility scooter. Well, I think it was like a walker from what I saw in that video. But again, you can go to Rumble and check out that video. I'm not sure if that's live yet. Let me just see. It is. Okay. So that's live on Rumble. You can check that out. And I'm going to put that. That's from Friday where we went through that video and everything that went on. And I took the video off YouTube because I was a bit concerned about whether or not YouTube would agree with it. What is this? Heroes. Huh. Wow. Cheers, crew. Here's to some sweet OT this weekend. For our on-call members, don't kick all of them out until next week. Groups get our turn. Yeah. Adam room at the back. I guess it's going to be wake up time. I'll see you for the departure. Looks like they need more leg into hand. Oh, this is insane. Anyone not signed up, jump on this. Your police officers first and ride, but members second. Don't cower away when we're needed. Even one shift can relieve an ops member for one night. Hopefully not Monday. I don't want to be stuck 12 hours with you, Nixie. Oh, you will. Damn. Who gets Sunday night? I have a second gas mask. Size medium. Never use it. If anyone doesn't have one tomorrow and would require one, I'll take it. I'll bring one. Time for the protesters to hear out. What's jackboots, guys? I don't even know what that is. I'm guessing that's some type of bad thing. Federal government is still trying to get control of what we can and cannot post on the internet. You will be censored soon if they win their bill. C10, yeah. Good point. We've talked about this on previous live streams, and that bill is the reason that Rumble relocated its headquarters to Florida, was because they said about Bill C10, and they said, hey, that's going to come back. Even though it got quashed this time, it's going to come back. And I totally agree it will. There's definitely no question of a doubt. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I obviously can't confirm with this is true or not true, but it looks like it could be true. And who knows? I mean, it's difficult to verify these things, obviously, but if that is true, then that is seriously disturbing, all these WhatsApp messages and everything that's gone on. I mean, the thing is, guys, at the end of the day, we always just have to stand up for our rights, stand up for freedom, stand up for liberty. And that is being, they're trying to make out like if you stand up for freedom and liberty, you're wrong to do that. And I think this is just the most terrible point in Canadian history for a long time. So just want to give a few mentions. We've got a few people on, guys who weren't here at the start. Hilliard Macbeth is going to be on the channel. I think we're probably not going to do that one live because I have a feeling that we'll be chatting for a long time and I'll have to edit some of it out. But Hilliard has a book which I would recommend that you read, because if you want to have any questions for him or whatever, then read his book, or at least read the cover of his book or whatever. You don't have to go buy it. But it was a fantastic read on what's to come with the banking crisis here in Canada. And big announcement, do the drums. You didn't read past the part where they said they want to ride their horses over people. Sorry about that. Let's get that up again. Oh, crap. What's happened here? Share. Tab. Rebel News. Where was that? Just watch that horse video. That is awesome. We should practice that maneuver. Agreed. Is that the trampling over people? Good Lord, if that is. I mean, that is just insane. Brent, is that the what you're talking about here, where it says just watch that horse video, which we watched on Friday, by the way? It's on that live stream that I just put the link in the chat for Rumble. You can go watch it. That's why I'm going to be doing a Telegram group to share things that I can't share on YouTube or Twitter or any of these. We need to be at a point where we're diversifying away from these platforms. Yeah, that is just insane then, Brent. Good Lord. I cannot believe police horses trample peaceful protesters. Wow, that's awesome. We only think we're living the dream. Good Lord. This won't even be on the mainstream media. This won't even be on the propaganda media. That is, we are such a bad place where, you know, there's so much division in Canada. I don't know how you get past all this. I really don't, because it's never been more divided. You know, you're on this side, you're on that side. And it's all politics, like even what's going on in Alberta, the premier's fighting for his leadership. So now he's like, oh yeah, freedom, because they're all going to be voting on his leadership. It's all politics, it's all BS. But he wasn't like that last year when he said, no, we're not going to bring in a passport system. And then a couple of months later, he did. And it's just like, what is your word good for? NDP are just reading scripts from Justin. They're paid off. Ottawa police reported the horse was okay. Yeah, insane, guys. Trampled over. I mean, we all saw the video with the 5 different angles. And if you want to see that video, go check out that live thing on Rumble that I did, because you'll see it right there. And it's absolutely just so bad, guys. It's so horrible to watch. I was nearly in tears over it because it's just absolutely terrible. It's heartbreaking to watch. You could clearly see the lady's walker or whatever it was. I don't know what it was, but you could clearly see it, and you could clearly see them just mow down the people. And then you can clearly see the videos that are online of people, protesters being whacked. And what country do we live in? Like, that's what you got to ask yourself. And again, what happens with this emergency act? This is why a lot of people are going to be boycotting. There's going to be a lot of people leaving. I know there's a hell of a big community of people from Eastern Europe here in Calgary, and I know loads of them are on about leaving. Loads of them have left because I hear from you guys through the channel. So people are leaving. People have had enough. And, you know, for people like myself who are always going to stand up for freedom and liberty, the thing is, we want to be in a place which values free speech. And even if no place is perfect, guys, but Canada is one of the worst places in the world right now out of the G20 that we could possibly be in. I could not believe this has happened. But it's like I said with the name of this live stream, is this just the start? And I don't say that to be sinister. I say that because inflation is raging so bad. And if history has taught us one thing, it's when people can't pay their grocery bill, people can't pay their energy bill, they take to the streets. And there is an immense amount of frustration right now over just that. And I'm sure some of the people who turned up were of that as well. They were just sick and tired because they're you know, they can't afford their rent, they can't afford their energy bill. There's no hope of them ever owning a home. But this is where we live in, guys. And a bit of insider information from a guy who works at the biggest dealer of gold here in Canada. They've been extremely busy since the announcement about the bank accounts. So what does that tell you about the integrity and the faith in the financial institutions? In fact, they did one order on Thursday or Friday, I think it was, $3 million. So this is not nobody's buying this gold. One order, $3 million. This is not nobody's buying this gold, guys. People know what's happening, and rich people, they know what's happening. They're going to be shot. The money launderers, they're going to be thinking, wow, it's not safe here anymore. So it's yeah, if everyone who drives a truck called in 2 weeks, it would get real fast. Yeah, I agree. It's yeah, man, politicians are afraid of only their votes. In Justin's case, it's just not that case. Confirmed UN crossing US southern border states. I don't know what that is. But, you know, this whole Russia-Ukraine thing, again, that's a load of nonsense. It's all just politics. And it's just, they will create a war just to enable themselves to get more votes. They'll go to the extreme. The other thing I wanted to say, guys, was the ninja. The economic ninja is coming onto this channel. So he's agreed to come on here, which is fantastic. I've been following him for a long time. He knows I've been following him for a long time. That's why I think he agreed to come on the channel. So we're going to have a talk about real estate psychology. He's been through multiple boom bust periods in the real estate cycle. He's a really great guy, and you can check him out on YouTube. He's huge now. He's grown his channel in like breakneck speed. I think he's got like 170,000 subscribers now, but he's agreed to come on here, and I think that's fantastic. It will be an amazing resource. So when that live stream comes about, I will post it days ahead, and then he'll be on here live. You guys can post questions to the ninja and everything like that. So check out his videos, see what he's all about. And then, yeah. So what are your thoughts on privacy coins? I mean, I don't know. Is anything, I don't even know about privacy coins, but if it's crypto, like they just freeze the wallets. I mean, if this has shown us anything, it's that crypto is really like, unless you have it on a physical key. And even then, like, how are you going to spend that? Because you need to redeem it for dollars to then spend on whatever you want. So it's kind of, yeah, it's showing we do really need a decentralized payment platform. I think that would be awesome. I think it would be awesome if there was like some, you know, Bitcoin bank institution that they couldn't shut down and everybody just started creating accounts with and using Bitcoin. That would be amazing and circumvent the whole system. But that would never happen because they would just declare a national emergency and then say, we're seizing all you people's bank accounts. This is a threat to the national security, which you could argue is true, because if we all stopped using Canadian dollars, the government would have no power. They wouldn't have any power anymore. The only power is the fact that they are the issuer of the currency in this country. If Canadian dollars aren't accepted everywhere anymore, then they're worthless. And the faith in the currency is dwindling. People are going to gold. I've heard it from my buddy who works at the biggest gold dealer in Canada, guys. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for being on the live stream tonight. Incredibly enjoyable. I'll post that link again to the Rumble live stream. Go check it out. Go subscribe to me on Rumble. We need to diversify away from YouTube. So I'm on Rumble there. I got 1 subscriber. so yeah, go check me out on Rumble, and we will be doing live streams on Rumble. I got to figure out how to do it, ones that we can't do on YouTube for obvious reasons. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to be with you and report on this kind of stuff. And I know it's frustrating, but if you're ever in need of a laugh, a political laugh, go to my TikTok, Market Mania Canada, because that's why I do those TikToks. Anyway, guys, see you in the next one.